Hi everybody, so I'm going to take you on a tour of the school now. Obviously at the moment people are unable to visit, so hopefully this will give you a bit of an idea of what our school looks like and some of the things that we can offer to your child. So first of all we're going to go in now to the entrance hall. So this is the entrance hall of the school. The children don't normally come in or out this way unless for some reason they've got an appointment or they've come in a little bit late. But it's important for you, I think, to see this space. This is where our administrative staff work. If you've got any problems or any questions, anything you need to ask, any help you need, this is the place you need to come. So it's our entrance hall, but also our school office is behind that hatch as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you on a tour through our school and show you the various spaces that we've got for your child. So we've got various displays on the wall, and these displays are reminding the staff and the children about those things that are important to us this year, our school values, the things we're focusing on this year. We've really been focusing on a curriculum over the last couple of years, and this is to remind everybody how important that is to everybody. We think it's really important to have that broad and balanced curriculum, and these displays remind everybody of that. We have a number of spaces in the school that children can work in with adults, and this is one of those spaces. So we have breakout rooms or group rooms. Teaching assistants or teachers can take children if they need to, or speech and language therapists, sometimes school nurse. If they need a space to work with the child, there are all sorts of spaces that we can utilise, and this is one of them. This is our school hall. It's not being used very much at the moment because of COVID, but in normal times, the school hall is where children have assemblies, whole school assemblies. They also normally eat their lunch in here as well, and also they'll do PE lessons or special events will happen here. Around the wall of the hall are displays to remind children about the 5 school houses. So we have Ruby, Emerald, Citrine, Sapphire, and Amber, and those are the 5 school houses. Each child is in a house and they stay in the same house from reception right the way through to year 6, and they're always in the same house as other members of their family. So siblings are always in the same house, and in those houses they do all sorts of different things. They compete in sports events, so we have inclusive sports events every term, and also they get the opportunity to spend time together and have fun together in their houses, so they're not always just spending time together in their classes. Okay, moving on up the corridor. So we have the infant cloakroom space here. We have 2 cloakrooms. So that's the infant cloakroom, and that's the entryway. At the moment with COVID restrictions, children are coming in by different exits, but in a normal year, the infant children will come in through that door. The first classroom I'm going to take you into is the reception class. Our classes are named after colours of the rainbow. So we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. So this is red class. So these children are in reception, and the curriculum they're following is the early years foundation stage. So if you have a look around the classroom, you'll see that it's set up very much so that we can focus on child-centred learning, and the resources are accessible for all the children, and we provide a range of different kinds of resources to stimulate children in all sorts of different ways. There are many opportunities to write and record, different places and different things that they can do when they want to play, both inside and outside the classroom. The children in the infants have a daily phonics lesson, so they do that every single day to focus on developing an understanding of reading. That goes from reception right the way through to year 2. Prior to leaving the infants and going into the junior classes. I'm going to show you now the reception outdoor learning space. They spend as much time learning outdoors as they do indoors, ideally, in the early years. So this is our lovely reception outdoor learning space. You can see there's lots of opportunities for them to carry out different kinds of learning here. We have a large physical area with a mud kitchen. We have our lovely reading den in the corner. We have a stage area, and we have lots of large construction materials. You can see behind me our lovely school field, which is a wonderful space. Children use it as often as we can, weather permitting obviously. And you can also see at the bottom of the field the temporary classroom space, which currently we rent out to Mangotsfield Preschool, and we're really pleased to have a preschool on site. So that's on the right hand side, and on the left our out of school club rents the other part. We have a really lovely out of school club, so if any of you are parents who require breakfast club or after school care, if you're a working parent, we have Mangotsfield Out of School Club based on our site. They're a really amazing provision, really lovely staff, and you can just ask us about that or check our website for details about that. Behind me you can also see the year 1 and the year 2 outdoor learning areas, and you'll see the canopy that we have stretches up the school. The canopy is UV proof and rain proof, so even in more extreme weathers the children can also have an opportunity to learn outside, and we do that as often as we can. So we're going to go into Orange Class year 1 now. So this is Orange Class. These children are in year 1, so they're actually in what's called Key Stage 1, which has a slightly different curriculum to the early years, so it's slightly less play focused and focused more on traditional subjects. The children still have an awful lot of opportunities to play and explore at their own level, and you can see examples of that around the classroom and in their outdoor learning area as well, but the focus here is a little bit more on those academic skills and developing the skills of reading, writing and maths. Okay. So before we look in our year 2 classroom, if I show you our lovely library. So this is our amazing library space. We're not using it at the moment because of restrictions due to COVID, but normally on a normal day in school, there'll be adults working in here with children, children coming and reading books and borrowing books, and children have the opportunity to borrow books from here on a regular basis. We're really pleased with our lovely library provision. It's got thousands of books in it, and the children use the books both for taking home and enjoying, but also for sharing in their classes and also to support their learning. So we're going to go into year 2 now. So this is the year 2 classroom. So we're still in an infant classroom, so there is still an element of focus on child-centred learning, and that's reflected in the classroom environment. However, the children's learning is becoming slightly more focused on the academic skills as well, and they're starting to learn a little bit more in depth with some of the subjects that they do. You can see at the moment they're learning about the Great Fire of London, which is a favourite history topic of the children, and I know they always have an opportunity to have a dressing up day and dress up as characters from the time of the Great Fire of London. We like to make sure we enhance the curriculum as much as possible with those kinds of experiences, dressing up days, school trips, opportunities for visitors to come in and talk to the children, to make sure the curriculum isn't just dry, it's not just about information being delivered to the children, it's about experiences for them. And I think that is true in this school from reception right the way through to year 6. So that's our year 2 classroom. So moving on up the corridor. So this is our cookery room. And again, we're not using that very much at the moment. It is still being used, but classes all have an opportunity to do some form of cookery, either as part of their curriculum or as an extracurricular activity that they can do. It's an accessible cookery space, and children with all sorts of needs can utilise this space as well. So the next classroom I'm going to show you is Green Class. So this is our year 3 class. It's the youngest of our junior classes. So the children in this classroom, they've just started in Key Stage 2, which encompasses years 3 to 6. One of the things we think is really positive about our school is the size and the layout we think is really conducive to children making very smooth transitions from one class to the next. for these children moving from the infants to the juniors is as simple as just moving down the corridor, and therefore we don't tend to have any problems with children making that shift into the Key Stage 2 learning. Okay. So this is our junior cloakroom on this side. So this is the cloakroom that's used by years 3, 4 and 5. And again, in a normal year, this would be the door that they'd be coming in and out of. At the moment, due to COVID, there are slightly different entry and exits for each class. But this is the junior cloakroom for those classes. The next class we're going to is Blue Class. So this is our year 4 classroom. You'll notice that in our classes, we think it's really important that the displays are neat and they're well presented, that they're accessible to children, that children can see them wherever they are in the classroom. They communicate the key information to the children so that they can use them in their own learning. And we also like to celebrate the children's learning too. You can see there's some examples of their artwork up in this classroom. These children have been studying self-portraits as part of their art project. Okay. So this is our year 5 classroom. So our upper Key Stage 2 children. And as the children age and as they move through the school, the curriculum becomes increasingly focused on the children utilising their core academic skills. But in our school, we believe in having a broad and balanced curriculum, and we think children still need to have experiences, they still need to get outside, they need to have practical opportunities to learn as well. And in our school as well, because we know there are some children for whom the curriculum is not all about academic learning, and because there are children in our school with additional needs, we make sure that even in a class where the learning for most of the children tends to be more academic, we make sure the learning is as broad and as practical as possible so everybody can find the curriculum accessible. Now, one of the things that makes our school unique is that we have a resource space for physically disabled and visually impaired pupils. And you'll have noticed on the tour that we have some wheelchairs parked up the corridor. We have braille under most of the entryways of the doors. There are symbols everywhere. And our school is designed to be a physically accessible space for those children. There are normally 1 or 2 children in each class who are part of the resource base. They're taught in their classroom. They're not really taught separately, apart from some very specific learning they may or may not do. But we do have some extra spaces up in the school which are targeted at support for those pupils with those additional needs in our resource base. But also they're spaces that other children can also benefit from as well in our school. So the first one I'm going to show you is our physiotherapy room. Now most schools, particularly ones our size, would not have a physiotherapy room. So ours is a physio-sensory room. So we're visited by a health physiotherapist quite regularly, every few weeks, who comes and works with those children that require specific physiotherapy support and providing training for staff. But also our own staff come in here and they utilise this space. And it's not just for children who require that specific physiotherapy. It's a great breakout space and sensory room for any child that might benefit from utilising this provision. So we feel really lucky and really pleased to have it. And this is one of the teaching spaces that children sometimes utilise in the resource space. Sometimes children are taken out, for example, if they are visually impaired and they're learning braille, they might come outside of the classroom. It may be that they're learning to utilise a communication technology that's important to them in their life, and they get taken out to do that. Most of the time, as I said, they are taught in their classrooms, but we do have additional spaces that children can benefit from where they're taught by specialist teachers or teaching assistants. So last classroom now is our year 6 classroom. So this is our year 6 classroom. So these are our oldest children, but I hope you'll notice that even though these are our oldest children and they're working at a much higher academic level than the other children in the school generally, this classroom also looks and feels like an accessible primary classroom. We believe it's important that the classroom environment should be stimulating. We believe it should be child-centred, even for those oldest children. And we believe the opportunities that the children have at lower down in the school to explore and experiment and practical learning, it should also be appearing even for the oldest children that we have, because we think that's an important part of children's development and engaging them and exciting them with their learning. Okay, so I'm going to take you out to the playground now and show you our playground space. We have another breakout room here where teaching assistants can take children, and this is our year 6 cloakroom. So this is our playground. At the moment, as we have children separated into bubbles due to COVID, the children are playing on different sections of the playground. Normally, they would all play together. The reception children, when they first come in, when they first start, tend to access the playground separately for a few weeks so they can get used to the space. And then we introduce them into the playground at the same time as other children, then they all play together. And one of the things that I think is a feature of our school is the older children are incredibly nurturing to the younger children. If you read our Ofsted report, which I would encourage you to do, that's one of the things that Ofsted noted, how caring our older children were and how much they looked after those younger children. If we just go around now, the last thing I'm going to do is take you around and just show you our lovely outdoor space. So this is our field and outdoor space. So we have a lovely trim trail space for the children to use. We have a forest school space behind the buildings over there. We have a lovely forest school space over behind these gazebos with a fire pit. Children do a forest school session in reception every week. They do forest school in year 1. And even up to year 6, at some point in their learning, they'll go outside and utilise these outdoor learning spaces, because as I said, we think it's really important for children to get the opportunity to do that. I think it's also worth noting that we know it's important for children to have extracurricular activities as well. So another thing that we offer normally, we're not doing it at the moment because of COVID, are after school clubs. We have a sports coach who supports children at lunch times with different sports and play activities. And after school, we offer as many clubs as we can in a normal year. So we offer chess and play ranger club and different types of football clubs and rugby, cricket, hockey. So depending on the time of year and depending on what children are interested in, we try to provide those other out-of-school experiences. We also offer other experiences for children. So we, as I've said before, we take children on trips in every school year. We do a residential visit for a few days in year 5 and then for a week in year 6, which is an amazing opportunity for children to learn new things about themselves and develop other skills and confidence. And it's all part of the package at Emersosn Green, where we believe it's important for children to develop every aspect of themselves. We know that reading, writing and maths is important. We know they need to grow up and become amazing learners. But what's really key is that they develop all parts of themselves and have an opportunity to experiment in all sorts of different ways with their learning. Well, I hope you've really enjoyed that tour. I hope it was really informative. What I would say to you is, if you've got any questions now, anything you would like to know, do not hesitate to contact us. You can ring or you can email the school office, and one of us will get back to you as soon as we can.
I like the school because I like the play equipment. I like the school because of all the learning that we do in our PE.
I like the school because it's fun doing maths.
I really like the school because the teachers are fair and they have learning systems like games to help you remember things, and they let you learn in a type of way that suits you and fits you, so you don't feel too uncomfortable. It's really fun as well, just learning with everybody, and I don't know, you get on well.
The reason why I like the school is because everyone is very kind, not too rude, and the teachers will be very kind to you. If you're stuck on a question, the teacher will always help you.
One of the reasons why I really like the school is because there's lots of activities after, and football and gymnastics, and sometimes you also go on school trips to places to do with what topics you're doing. And in year 5 and 6 you go to camp, and it's really fun.
Some things I really like about this school is how inclusive it is and how we can help all abilities. Another thing I like is the buddy system, how that if you do have a disability, somebody can help you, and it's a choice, you don't have to, but it's just that active support if you need it. And we do, lots of the time, year 5s read with receptions, and I just think they really enjoy it.